hungry because a new pair of pizza watches is coming in hot and fresh out of the oven with a new classic cheese configuration and a... What's that smoky smell? Oh, crap, it's burning. Shit. Still looks tasty. Plus, first ever blackened case and bracelet, eh? Hey, just jumping in real quick, I can see from some of the comments that some of you think this is a limited edition. Don't worry, this is not a limited piece. This is a studio edition that will be available at the Melbourne, London, and the now open New York Time+Tide Discovery Studio in Soho at 460 Broome Street. We'd love to see you there, and you never know, you might even see me too. Now back to the video. Pizza watches. If you had asked me when I joined Time+Tide a little over 5 years ago if we would be in the business of pizza-themed watches, I would have thought you were out of your mind. Yet, the me of today sees just how on brand the collection really is for us. Time+Tide has always sought to make the traditional and intimidating world of watches more accessible and playful, to shed the cardigan and Warby Parker whisk starter kit and be relatable and inviting to all. We also always seek to have a point of difference, a Time+Tide twist, if you will. And the pizza watch saga is a perfect example. It started as a complete gag, an April Fool's joke in 2023 turned into a real product in early 2024, with the original pizza pair, the undeniable pepperoni, and the abominable Hawaiian, with a hand-delivered rollout that made the watches more exclusive, yet more personal, with required human interaction with Andrew, Richard, or one of our Discovery Studio staff. It was discontinued in December that year, and putting a ribbon on this first pizza run, a one-off half-and-half pizza unique was auctioned off for charity, raising an astounding $17,000 for Mary's Meals. The story seemingly ended there, but it was clear last year in 2025 that people still had room for another slice. So the pizza collection is back, but in new fashion, or a new recipe rather, with a clean classic cheese I know I and many others were eager to see get made, and a very unexpected burnt pepperoni that reimagines the original pepperoni, just one that was in the oven a touch too long. Once again, the stainless steel cases clock in at 38.5 millimeters in diameter, 12.9 millimeters thick, including the double dome sapphire crystal, and 44.5 millimeters lug to lug across the wrist. This positions the case, in terms of its wear, as modernly mid-sized, balancing wrist presence with a span across the wrist that is anything but overwhelming. Any wrist can enjoy these pizzas, really. The burnt pepperoni gets its first ever blackened case via a PVD coating that perhaps further emphasizes the dial with its stealthy nature. The two-layer dial construction also remains, with a satin sandblast base dial and coarse degradé top dial to mimic the bubbling surface of cheese fresh out of the oven. The classic cheese appears in the same color seen on the original pepperoni and Hawaiian, but devoid of any toppings that distract from the meticulous color curation and texture of the gradating surface. That being said, it does differ from the original dials beyond the removal of any toppings. Look at the 3 o'clock sector and you will notice a slice has been taken out of the pizza pie, a nod to New York slice culture that is a subtle celebration of our new third Time+Tide New York City Discovery Studio. And fun fact, the slice is actually hand cut out of the dial prior to assembly. Pretty cool. The burnt pepperoni may seem like a straightforward task, just blacken the case and darken the dial, right? But I personally believe that the burnt pepperoni really showcases Richard and his team's exceptional eye for detail and design, tasked with making an effectively overburnt pizza still look edible and tasty to wear. Well done may be the appropriate reaction in more ways than one. The colors are dialed down just right, with the coarse upper surface of the burnt dial still conveying the degradé effect and colored just like burnt cheese. The circles and lines for the toppings create almost like a ghost-like nature for the pepperoni, mushroom, basil, and olives on the dial, more silhouettes now than standouts. You will also notice that the hands have been blackened and the loom within them a darker orange hue to better match the burnt dial. Both watches once again come with a top-notch The Strap Tailor leather strap, 20 millimeters in initial width, with a vintage-inspired taper down to 16 millimeters by the time you reach its case-matching pin buckle. But The Burnt Pepper0ni is also offered with a first ever black PVD Milanese mesh strap that has an equal lug width and taper to the strap tailor leather strap, as well as an underside quick release tab so you can easily swap between the strap options. Inside is Studio Underd0g's bespoke version of the ST1910B Seagull chronograph caliber, made in China but with Swiss origins, as its architecture is based on the historic Swiss Venus chronograph caliber, and it's regulated by Studio Underd0g in Great Britain to run within +15, -10 seconds per day. The B in the caliber name designates the bespoke blackened main plate for Studio Underd0g, along with the bespoke upgrade of having a swan neck regulator. The manual winding column wheel chronograph caliber has a 50-hour power reserve, 45 hours if you leave the chronograph running, and with its classic lateral clutch architecture, you can really see the chronograph components running in their full glory, especially with zero rotor obstructing the view. In fact, with the blackened main plate, the chronograph components are really further emphasized, focusing the eye on what is ultimately the star of the movement show. Personally, I find myself really torn between this new pair. The first time around, it was simple. As an NYC native, I could never support pineapple on pizza, even on a wristwatch. But look, jokes aside, the classic cheese definitely strongly speaks to me with its clean dial and subtle tribute to our new third New York City Discovery Studio, now open, and the slice culture of New York City. But I also really dig the blackened look of the Burnt Pepper0ni and the appeal of a new case-matching Milanese strap. Perhaps my ultimate configuration would be a combination of the two, a burnt classic cheese, if you will. Then again, maybe that's best reserved for a second charitable pizza unique. But now I want to hear from you. Which slice are you most likely to order? Let me know your choice and thoughts in the comments below. For the full specs, pricing, and availability of the classic cheese and Burnt Pepper0ni, you can find the full details in the description below. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the Time+Tide channel for all the latest watch news, reviews, and content. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.